Hi, I'm Terri Tauber,
And I'm Chris Cotter.
and we're here to welcome you to Summit's 2018 Reorganization meeting. This is a very exciting and historic meeting here, time here in Summit. We are about to swear in our first Democratic majority in the history of Summit, and as the former Democratic chair, I'm very proud to be part of that.
So I'm delighted to be joining you tonight, Terry. The reorganization meeting is always a special night for the City of Summit. This is the time when the council reorganizes, selects a new council president from among the council members, and we'll also make committee assignments, and we will hear during the meeting the mayor's State of the City address. So it certainly is a consequential evening for Summit.
You sound like a former city administrator who really knows how this meeting runs.
Well, I've had the good fortune to attend some number of those over the years, but thank you. And it's fun to be back in the council chamber, and certainly for this meeting.
Yes. Cool. So our first interviewee this evening, we're going to talk to Michael Rogers, our current city administrator.
Thank you for having me.
Michael, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Certainly nice to see you again. And the role of city administrator is certainly an interesting one, an important one. It's often out of the limelight, but always in the thick of things in terms of policy development and execution of policy, and certainly leadership of city staff. What kinds of things might be on your agenda as you're looking toward 2018 and all the various needs and demands that come across your desk every day?
Well, first and foremost, Chris, I think what we try to do every year is to look at how we can better run our government organization. And I think that takes looking at our personnel, making sure we're properly staffed, making sure that we have the adequate equipment every year to perform those necessary duties and tasks that we do every day. And that's part of how we evaluate our budget, which first and foremost is all about fiscal responsibility. And I think once we get that established and we know that we can put together a financial plan for the year to accomplish those goals that we all set out to do in any given year and execute, which is the most important thing. So that's kind of our general approach every year.
So this is certainly a busy time of year, but particularly so because you're working on the budget. And putting all of those goals together. Can you give us a preview of any perhaps major initiatives that might be underway for 2018?
I think this year it's going to be a collaborative effort. I think the governing body and planning board will be working on something they did late last year, which was to designate the area in need of redevelopment along Broad Street West. I think it's a crucial year from a planning perspective. I think it's something that we're looking forward at. It's something that we know takes time and takes years to come to fruition, and we have to start the planning process this year, and there'll be a lot of community outreach and engagement to kind of flesh out the ideas that I think people want to see in their community. And hopefully, ultimately, at the end of the day, and some years from now, we're going to have a stronger, more solvent tax base, which is always what we're trying to do, is to grow to lessen the burden on our current taxpayers.
Well, it sounds like certainly a busy year ahead for the City of Summit. And Michael, thank you for taking the time to meet with us tonight. Yep. And certainly thank you for all you do for the City of Summit.
Thank you. My pleasure, Chris. Thanks. Thank you, Terry. Thanks.
Okay. Next up, we have our mayor, Nora Radist, who will be giving your second State of the City address tonight.
Actually, third.
Third.
But the first one, it was much more aspirational because I took office and then had sort of talked about what my ideas were. But no, tonight is my second year as mayor, and it's been a really incredible experience. I'm very, very happy. My sort of two goals really had been to improve the tax base in the city. Because our citizens pay a lot in taxes. They expect a lot in services, and they get them, but they pay a lot. And we've had some situations where it's important to expand the tax base, and I really also wanted to focus on improving, being technologically innovative, so that we could be more efficient, we could move our city forward. We are poised. We're in a great situation. We're a transit hub. People want to live in areas of the community. They want to live close to town where they can walk to cafes, work, transit, shopping, you name it. And we're uniquely positioned, and I'm piggybacking on what Michael just said. We are focusing on that for this coming year.
And we have a great and vibrant downtown that's doing well right now, right?
It really is, yeah. We have a 4% vacancy rate, just a tight, like a tad under 4%. And some of our, everybody knows some of the bigger stores that are open, with the Summit Food Market and Stolta Duca. The owner of those buildings is actively recruiting tenants, so I'm very enthusiastic about that.
So Mayor, tonight we'll be hearing the State of the City address.
Right.
And that looks at many of the accomplishments last year, of which there were many, and you mentioned the redevelopment work, some of the preliminary work. And for 2018, you said that that's going to be continuing
Yes.
efforts. Anything else that we might be looking forward to as part of your speech tonight in terms of 2018?
Well, we want to continue looking at, as Summit always talks about, parking, right? And that's going to be really part of the redevelopment plan. I don't want Summit to be the last community in the state of New Jersey to build a standalone parking garage, because the state of driving is changing dramatically in the next 10, 15 years. So we will looking at parking, but in innovative ways to sort of help around the edges, but also with the redevelopment process. I'm very sure we're going to be opening the Morris Avenue Bridge this coming spring, and we've been very, very patient, and that's been, but it had to get done. We are also looking at relocating the firehouse. The firehouse it's old, it needs work, and we're at this point we're buying trucks to fit in the lot in the house, and spending extra money to build those trucks because they're not the house is not big enough. So that's part of the redevelopment plan as well.
Custom.
Correct.
So any thoughts on where that's going to go?
We have a consultant working on it right now, and we should have the plan and as to where they think it would be most properly located in the next couple of months. So.
Well, Mayor Radis, thank you very much, and thanks for all that you do for the city, and we're all looking forward to your State of the City address tonight.
Thank you. We've accomplished a lot, so it's a little long.
Good.
Thank you.
Should be long.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Okay, next up we have Mike McTiernan and David Naidu.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah,
Good
how are
evening,
you?
gentlemen.
Great.
I'm very well.
Good.
Nice matching ties. I like it.
Yes, we got the
Coordinated.
memo. It's all
That's
good.
right.
Yeah.
Good.
So Mike, maybe we start with you. You
right.
are just finishing up 2 terms as the council president.
Yep. Mhm.
And in the city of Summit, that's the presiding officer elected from among your peers on council. And an important role for the governing body. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience and maybe some highlights from your 2 years as the council president?
Absolutely. It was an honor to serve as council president for 2 years. I know my predecessor did that for 2, so I think it's a good time frame to do it in, and I'm happy to be done with it now and hand that off to somebody different. But I'm proud of what we accomplished. I went through and at the last council meeting and went over some of the things that we did on council. And as I was taking notes, I'm like, oh yeah, we did this and we did that and we did this and we did that. So we settled a lot of outstanding issues, particularly some legal issues with about affordable housing. 2 of our largest taxpayers in town, Atlantic Health and Celgene. We invested in a lot of infrastructure. So I feel really proud, particularly like with the community center, but also in some of our parks as well and our roads. So I feel like we did a lot. I think we're leaving the council and the city in a good spot to build upon and to do even more and better things for the city of Summit. So.
What was your favorite of your accomplishments? Anything jump out?
I think I was proudest of breaking ground on the community center. That was a project that really got going my first year on council, and I pushed really hard for this public-private partnership, which got accomplished. We raised $1.5 million through the private sector to help fund the project with the city, and we broke ground on it, and I'm really excited, hopefully sometime, maybe the beginning of next year, to go to a ribbon cutting for that. So.
Great.
Wow, that's wonderful. And Councilman David Naidu, so this evening we understand that it's likely that you'll be nominated for the role of council president.
That's the rumor I hear as well.
Yeah, that's out there. So,
If elected.
I will serve.
David, what can you tell us about what you might have in terms of planning for 2018 in that role and for council?
Right. So as Mike said, Mike and I have served together for the past 2 years. We did accomplish a great deal. I think the city is in a very strong position fiscally, but also I think one of the big things that we accomplished in the past 2 years was the master plan. And that gave us a framework for how we wanted to develop the city. And one of the things you'll see, I think, in this upcoming year is the implementation of some of those aspects of the master plan. There was talk about redevelopment, and we're going to be looking very closely at the redevelopment of the Broad Street corridor. We're also going to look at some of the other issues that were involved, connectivity, whether it's sidewalk connectivity, bike paths. We're going to try to do those things that the public has said through the master plan process that is once seen in the city. And we're going to move forward with those things.
Well,
So,
David,
so I'm very into the history of tonight, and you will be, if elected, Summit's first Democratic council president. What do you plan to do to make your mark on things?
Well, I think, I'll say this. Yes, it's true. This is a historic moment in the history
How many years,
of the city. 100+ years later.
119 years.
119. See, I wasn't counting. But that being said, I think one of the hallmarks that we had, at least, while Mike was president, is, and I look forward to this in the council, is that we may have disagreements, but without being disagreeable. I think we all
Perfect.
come with the same purpose of serving the city and trying to see what is the best way of achieving common goals. Whether it's Democratic or Republican or independent, I don't think that is where people's heads are. People's heads are, can you accomplish those things that make our lives better? We have a great community, we have a great city, we have a great professional staff, and it is our job as elected officials to make sure that we respect the people by showing them that we can work together very well.
well,
Absolutely.
thank you both for setting such a great example of local governance and how best to achieve that. Thanks very much.
Thank
Pleasure.
you.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you. Okay, let's talk to our outgoing council members tonight.
Happy New Year.
Thank
So-
you. Same to you.
So,
Terry?
Pat Hurley, how are you?
I'm good. I'm
Good, good. So, 2 terms. You're completing 2 terms.
I am.
Right. Any particular highlights you want to talk about from?
It's been, it's interesting when you consider what's happened over the 2 terms. It's only been 6 years, but 6 years is a long time. I think I'm most proud of some of the. I think first of all, we one of our objectives was to unify the city more so than it was before after a contentious couple years, understandably, I think, politically. And I think we accomplished that. And I look at things I did specifically, being chair of safety for several years, working with Chris on several major projects. We got the dispatch center in place. I think the city now is as safe as it's ever been. I think the fire department proved that recently. We did make a concerted effort to update the equipment they have, update the training, additional training opportunities that were, I think, previously blocked to them. All of that became available, and then on the General Services Committee, I think we see a lot of that work over the last few years. We're going to see it in the years to come, both in the community center, but also on the bleachers and the fields and all the work that we've done. So for me, it's I do take some satisfaction and pride in seeing those projects come to completion and seeing the community center hopefully come to completion in the next year and a half.
What are you going to do now in your retirement? Are you?
I'm not officially retired from life. I'll
Right.
have Tuesday evenings off and
Right.
committee times off, and so it's they do take a lot of preparation, council meetings. So I'll have I think it's about 1,000 hours a year or so that we
You
put
get
into
that.
this. So I'll get 1,000 hours back. So I'll find something to fill that void, I'm sure.
you
But,
will.
Great.
Well,
Thank you.
Thanks
for your
very much.
service.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris.
Happy New Year, Chris.
Happy New Year to you too, Richard.
Yes. How are you?
So, I'm well, thank you.
I've seen you
That's
before.
what I
How are
know.
you?
So you're going off council after one term as the council at large role. And can you tell us a little bit, Richard, about what that experience has been like? You came on council likely as the youngest council person that we've had in the history of Summit, which is a remarkable achievement. Uh, what have these past 2 years really meant to you?
I think a lot of it was about giving back to the community that I grew up in, but it was also about bringing a different approach to governance. I think my age is a source of strength in terms of being able to think innovatively and about the next generation. So if we talk about some technological improvements that we've had in City Hall, we're one of the first communities in New Jersey to implement community fiber conduit. We just put a new permitting software in, and we also, as well publicized, the first in the nation partnership with transportation network companies like Uber and Lyft. So just design thinking, data, and technology in government, I think were hallmarks of being young, but I think in a positive way.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Terrific.
Yeah.
So, and now you're at Harvard Law,
Yes.
right? What's next for you? What are your plans?
Do well in school, first of all, but
Very good.
I have a huge interest in infrastructure policy. So whether that's trains, like building the Gateway Tunnel between New York and New Jersey, or broadband internet, just make sure there's high-speed internet across New Jersey. Right now, Western New Jersey doesn't have high-speed internet. So something about using government and the law to build something for society, something what I want to do.
Good luck with that, Richard. And again, thank you for your service to the city.
Thank you for everything, Chris. Thanks, Terry. Appreciate it.
Did we lose Rob? Okay, let's go to the incoming council members. Start with Beth Little, our new at-large councilwoman.
Thank you.
So going on with the history theme, we'll have 4 women on the dais for the first time in that, what was that number? 119 years. I can't keep that number in my head. But so it's great. It must feel great to be part of that.
I think it really is. And one of my goals in running was to really bring the experience that I had involving the entire community to the council. And I've been involved with a lot of organizations that touch a lot of Summit. So I'm really looking forward to being part of a council that really does represent the women in our community and everyone. So I'm looking forward to being part of that.
Beth, what do you see as the major issues facing the city as you're starting your term as the council member at large?
Well, really what we heard about walking around and talking to the community is that affordability is really one of the major issues in Summit, and especially with the new tax plan, and a lot of people worried about that. That's one of the things that we're really going to be looking at and making sure that we are really spending the city's money wisely, making great decisions, shoring up the commercial tax base so that we can keep Summit affordable for all its residents. And I think that's going to be one of our big focuses.
Well, thank you.
Great. So you've probably been going through a lot of the training and getting ready for this. Are you ready to go? What are you excited about?
I feel very ready to go. We've been welcomed with open arms from the current council members and the city staff and administration, and we've really gotten a lot of great information and great training, and we are ready to go, ready to jump in and make a difference and really make Summit stronger. So yes, definitely looking forward to it.
Great.
Well, congratulations and good luck as you begin your term on council.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Marjorie Fox representing Ward 2.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
So Marjorie, we were just mentioning to Beth that you represent really something extraordinary that's happening tonight. For the first time, there is a Democratic majority on Common Council. That's never happened before.
That's correct.
And for the first time, there is a 4-person female membership on the dais. That hasn't happened before either. So can you tell us a little bit about maybe what that means to you in this role now coming on council? Whether it makes a difference at the local level to have a Democratic majority or Republican majority, and maybe a little bit about what your thoughts are going into 2018 that you'd like to see accomplished as a new council member.
Okay. Well, I think as far as we view ourselves as representing everyone in Summit, Democrats and Republicans and independents. But it's exciting because I think it's a healthy thing to have a two-party system, and we've just shown that we do have that. I think also as far as having more women on council, I think, and having now half of the governing body between 3 council members and the mayor, female, means that we are more reflective of what the national, what the percentage of women in this country is. We have half of the country is women, and we're representing, half of the representatives are women. So I think that's something different, and I think that's very unusual because we don't have that at the state level. The county level, I believe, doesn't have that. So we are unusual in that way, and I think we are leading the way, and that is an exciting thing. As far as what I hope to accomplish, one of the things I'll be chairing the Buildings and Grounds Committee, and so there are a lot of things coming up now. We just went through the master plan re-examination last year, which was a very lengthy process with a lot of public involvement and a lot of discussions with the community about what we want the city to look like in the future and what the community wants. And now we have the opportunity on a lot of the work on Buildings and Grounds. We'll be looking at ways to implement that, some of the things that have been identified in the master plan. So that'll be something to look for in the next few years.
Great.
It sounds like it's going to be a busy year.
It will be, absolutely.
And it sounds like this last couple of months, I'm sure, have been filled with all the, the training. It must have been a bit of a whirlwind for you. Did anything like really surprise you that you learned in getting ready for this?
Just the breadth of what council handles. I think I've been involved in city government as a volunteer for a number of years, so that part of it wasn't new to me. A lot of how city government functions isn't new to me, but just the breadth of what council deals with and just the level of detail of the things, the letters that come in and the information that we're given. So that was the thing that was most surprising to me.
Well, Marjorie, thank you very much, and best of luck to you as you start your new role on Common Council.
Thank you. Thank you.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
Hello. No restful weary.
No, not at all. Up next, we have Matt Gould, who will be representing Ward 1. Congratulations to you on your
Terri. Yes, thank
victory
you.
as well.
Thank you so much.
So Matt, again, another new council member tonight.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What kinds of things are you hoping to be able to accomplish during your first year on Common Council?
Yes. Well, we really hope to hit the ground running. We've got a lot of ideas. We talked about on the campaign trail, really future-proofing our downtown by building an economic development committee, and we plan to carry through with that. We talked a lot about public safety, and I'm going to be in charge of the Public Safety Committee. I'm the chair of the Public Safety Committee, so that's a very important thing to me, just, engineering, education, and enforcement to make sure that our roads are safe, and then trying to really work on connectivity to make it a very walkable city. Mm-hmm. And then always looking to the future in terms of redevelopment and new ways to think about it and make sure that Summit continues to change to meet all the demands of the 21st century.
Well, that's terrific.
So, what do you think your experience as a reality show producer, how do you think that will help you in dealing with council and the things that come up before council?
Yeah. Well, at first, I think if you don't think about it, it could seem like they are very, very... Sorry. They could seem like they could seem like very different set of skills, but there's 3 main things, really, which is creativity, collaboration, and persistence. And so you think about being creative to find solutions, being collaborative to work with all the different groups that you have to work with to get things done, and then persistence to push it through and get it done.
Great.
Well, Matt, congratulations again, and good luck with all of the initiatives that will be underway in 2018.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so excited.
Okay.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Okay, I guess, did we find Rob? I guess... Okay, so we're getting ready now to start. We're going to hear the State of the City, and we were going to tell people about how they can get more involved.
Yes, so certainly watching tonight's program on Hometown TV, you'll see the entire show. However, you can always catch it on hometowntv.org and watch council meetings regularly or watch them streamed. Also, the City of Summit has a great deal of information online at cityofsummit.org, and it's a way for the community to continue to be connected with local government.
And they can find ways to volunteer there as well, right?
Yes, they can.
And get information about what's happening in the city.
They can.
Get connected.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, Terri, thank you for allowing me to join you tonight. be a part of Hometown TV. This is an important evening for the city, the reorganization meeting, and we're reminded how fortunate we are when local residents step forward, run for elected office, and tonight we see the culmination of that in these volunteers who are willing to represent all of us.
And as we've heard from a lot of them, it's a lot. It's 1,000 hours, Pat said, roughly. It's a lot of work. So it's really, we really appreciate these people who do step up and do that for us.
So thank you to our viewers tonight, and we'll go right into the council meeting.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.